What is your life all about? Have you ever paused long enough in the mad rush of your money making, of trying to get what you call good things for yourself? Have you ever slowed down long enough to ask yourself the simple question, what is my life all about? When's the last time you've done that? Long time ago, right? We're going to examine your life. And the first thing I want you to understand, and understand quite clearly, that your life is not your happenings. Now you think it is. You say, I suffered that loss. I lost my best friend, I lost my spouse, I lost my girlfriend, or whatever. You say you lost something. That means you think that you are somehow connected with this event. Not really, you just think so. Your life, therefore, is not your happenings. It is not what happens to you. When you understand this, when you're able to separate your life, find your true life, separate it from what happens to you, now you know what life is all about. You know what you are all about, and you are free from the world. Oh, I see. You don't want to be free from the world. You think it's too much fun. It's too much fun getting clobbered. When you understand what your life really is, you know exactly how to work with that world out there, how to meet it, how to react to it, and there are no problems at all. Now, if your life is not what happens to you, which it is not, what is it? It is something that you may have never, ever thought about, and I want you to think about it now. Look, start life all over, right now. You can. Do it. Your life is a seed with a possibility of growth into a totally new way to live in this world. Let's try it again. Your actual life is not that excitement you have out in the world, not that pain, not that gloom, not those exciting plans, not that attempt to appear respectable in front of others. That's not your life at all. These are events, these are happenings, these are pretenses. These are pains. Your true life, therefore, consists of you understanding why you are here in this world, on this earth. Now, if it was to have fun, you might have found fun, but you haven't found it, have you? There's no fun, you know that. So your life consists of a possibility within you right now, which you can begin to understand, which you can begin to nourish, which you can begin to develop, so that your whole concept of life is different and it is free. Now you examine the way your present life is. For example, what would happen to you if you lost the approval of someone that you want to approve of you? Follow this carefully now. It's very important that you follow it carefully. What would happen to what you call your life if you lost something that you're now depending on? Something that you call valuable, necessary. You see, but the problem is you never notice it till you lose it. You're living in such a dream state, you think all is well, all is not well. You've simply shored yourself up with all these activities and these thoughts, religious thoughts, financial thoughts, sex thoughts. You've so filled your mind with them that you think that that is your life and that is your security. You never notice that you're at the mercy of everyone, aren't you? Who scared you today by a certain facial expression? Who was it? The boss? Your spouse? See, you're living in a delusion that you don't see as delusion. You call it security. You call it your life. And yet you don't understand that it's no life at all because it is so changeable. So easy for it to fall apart. And you fall apart. Very important, therefore, for you to begin to change your definition of what your life is. If you call it that sad event of 6 months ago, if you call it that, then that will take you over and it will control you. That's not life. That's sadness. That's being trapped. That's not living from your real nature at all. Now, let's go back to the point where I said that your true life consists of you understanding that there is a small part in you that is capable of being developed. And when it develops fully, it has complete power over everything that you're wrongly attached to. You know those people. You know those activities. You know that alcohol. You know that those compulsions you have, those habits you have. This real nature, which you can develop, has complete power over that. Now, how are you going to find out for yourself whether this is true or not? One way, right? For you to understand that you have to do something for you that is completely different from what you've done before. No more drifting downstream in the canoe. No more playing it safe inside your little closet. Come out. Come out and be blasted by the world if necessary. You are anyway, but you don't feel it, you don't see it. Because you've protected yourself behind your delusions of saying, I'm strong, I've got religious beliefs, I've got friends, I've got money, I've got a home. You have nothing at all. Whoa. Yes, you have something. It's called lack of true purpose in life. It's called stumbling. It's called being afraid. It's called being lost. Go back to a thought of just a minute ago. There's a certain part of you that is very arrogant, that insists it has it made. And it is so insistent that it argues with anyone or anything that tries to correct it. This new growth that I talked about begins with you right in the middle of your angers and pretenses, catching them and seeing them as angers and pretenses, and seeing that that is the enemy that prevents you from being a happy human being. You're not happy. None of you are. You're not happy at all. How can you be happy with all that bitterness you have? How can you be happy when you sense that tomorrow you're going to do something very foolish that's going to get you into trouble? How can you be happy when you feel at the mercy of other people to whom you attribute strength, by the way, and they have no strength at all? You want to attribute it to them for one false reason or another, but they're not strong at all. They're just as weak as you are. If you can catch yourself right in the middle of pretending that you know what your life is and what it's all about, if you can catch yourself in the middle of pretense, it will give you a great shock. It will be a blow. It will be a blow happily to your vanity. Where there is pretense, there is vanity. There is conceit. Where there's conceit, there is fear. Where there is fear, there is weakness. Where there is weakness, there is defeat. And I am telling you, you don't have to live another day like this at all. I don't know why. Yes, I know why. I'll ask you, why do you accept daily defeat as a way of life for you? You are accepting it, and I tell you to stop it. Right now. Not one more day. You can say that. I'm giving it to you. I'm telling you what to do, what to say, how to proceed to start this new growth. You can do it, and you had better. If you don't, that wicked, vicious world out there, observing, understanding your weakness, will pounce on you without mercy and carry you off. And the reason you know that that is true is because that's been the story of your life. How many times have you been betrayed by so-called good people? How many times have you been cast aside by so-called strong people who are going to lead you, who are going to give you happiness in this relationship or whatever? Isn't it curious that human beings are incapable of learning? You are. You just don't learn. You just don't see the lessons that come to you 100 times a day. The main lesson, that there's something wrong with you. Now you say that simple, I know there's something wrong with you. You say you don't know it. What you do is complain. What you do is cry. What you do is look around for someone you think is stronger than you. But you never learn the lesson, which is this. Admitted weakness, admitted stupidity, admitted aimlessness, admitted, can begin the process of this new growth in which you have real strength, in which you have a true aim, in which you know exactly what to do to get rid of this mad world, both inside you and outside. And that's where you start. Don't you have anything to do with the world out there. Don't you try to change the insane asylum. It's not going to change. You go out and try to cure it. It will get you. What you have to do is begin to work on your own confusions, to see that your life has been nothing but chaos. Admit it, and that's the beginning of change. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. You think about it when I give it to you. What in life do you truly love? I'll tell you. If you don't know, I'll tell you what you love. Your true love now, your true love is the way you now think. You love the way you now think. Your true love is what you now value. Poor, pathetic people that you are. Your true love now is what you value. What do you value? You value quarreling. You value suffering. You value the very confusion that you say you want to abolish. Never forget what I'm going to tell you next. Now, presently, you love what you are. That is your true love. How tragic. This is also called self-love. It's also called self-conceit. It's also called a love for self-reference. It's also called a love for destruction. How honest can you be while I am talking to you right now? If I was to ask you whether your life is ascending, I mean spiritually, not financially, which is ridiculous. If I was to ask you whether your life is ascending or descending spiritually, what would you answer? You see, you'd have a problem with even such a simple question as that, because you've never even given a thought to a thing like that. All you think about is your ego protection. All you think about is how you're going to appear respectable to other people. All you think about is how to perfect the act. And the act in front of your own eyes, as well as the audience out there of other people that you want to impress in order to get something from them. Have you ever noticed that you become an observer of your own stage performances, telling yourself that you're right, and then insisting that you are? You see, I better tell you right now that you're not right. Matter of fact, you're all wrong. Now, isn't it strange that I have to tell you that you're all wrong? How pathetic that I have to tell you that you're all wrong. And why do I have to do it? Because you won't. That's the last thing that this false nature of yours is going to admit. And that false nature that has taken over and tyrannized your life, that false nature is working far more underground, unseen by you than you know. And I tell you, you had better begin to arouse the sleeping intelligence that you have in order to detect it, in order for you to see that not only are you wrong, but there's only one person on the face of this earth who is responsible for the continuation of your wrongness, which is you. Now, if you have a false love, the very fact that it is false means that you're going to have to go around clinging to it, letting it hug you, and suffering the consequences. Very strange feature of human beings is that they take their daily pains, their angers, their hatreds, their envies, they take these as being something that it is necessary for them to cling to. In short, something that they should love, they must hang on to. May I ask you all a question, please? Do you have 1 ounce of intelligence? I mean 1 ounce. I don't ask for more. You couldn't give it. Do you have 1 ounce of intelligence to see that you're calling your wrongness rightness? Can't you see how it's paining you? How can agony be right? How can inner division, inner conflict be right? Wake up! Your very searching out of what I just told you could be the start of spiritual intelligence, not simply mental movement, which is all you have now. You have no intelligence. Oh, you can build a house or run your business. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about intelligence as a human being here on earth, as a human being, not as a carpenter, not as a businessman, not as a parent, but as a human being who's looked around at this world and said, how horrible. Looked out at this world and seen that everybody has a solution and no one has a solution. And that applies to you. Too bad for you, but you're always talking to yourself. You're always giving yourself counsel, advice, accepting that advice and suffering the consequences of it. What can you do about all this? I'll tell you a brief story that'll illustrate it for you. Suppose there's a village where everyone is ill. All the people are sick. They don't know what to do about it. Nothing has worked, which is the way this world is. I've described the world, haven't I? The world is sick. Nobody knows what to do about it. Nobody that you've met out in that world anyway. A wise man comes along and he says, ladies and gentlemen, I see your illness. I see how you suffer from being sick. Now I'll tell you what you can do about it. And he's, being a wise man, wise in the ways of nature, he says, each one of you as individuals can go out into the woods, not into the hills, and there are certain healing leaves and roots and herbs out in the woods, roots, which if you, listen to this, if you get the right combination of them, put them together, and take them together, they will heal you. Now I'll pause right there to tell you, this is exactly what truth tells you. If you follow the principles truth gives you, you go out and do some work for yourself, you search around, discarding the faults. You do that, eventually you will get a sensing. Just as, say, one or two people did, one man and one woman out of the whole town who really wanted to be healed. The rest, you know what the rest did? They said, I like the way I am. I like being sick. That's exactly what the world says. But one or two people go out. And it's pretty hard climbing, pretty steep hills. And it gets dark. And they make mistakes. Little by little, as they taste the herbs. Oh, this is beautiful, listen to it. As they taste one of the herbs the man was talking about, as they taste one of the roots or one of the leaves, it tastes right. Have you ever had that experience in even a small way? You've heard a truthful principle and you were receptive to it. That is, you worked to get your old egotistical nature out of the way, and it came to you, the truth came to you. It tasted right, didn't it? That's fine, but that's just a start. There's so much more. Because there's so many false healings out there in the woods. They're all mixed up, and you have to learn the difference. So one man goes out there, one woman, let's make it you, goes out there, and you have to discard 500 of the false healings before you find one that's right. But there's no mistaking the one right one. You're so encouraged. Why are you encouraged? Because the knowledge of what is right, of what is healthy, is coming from you, not from the world. From you, you know it's right. Oh, nothing can stop you now, right? You've that one, just that one right one, that one right feeling, that one right sensing that's not a part of the jungle out there. But right in the middle of the jungle in the woods, there was this one right root that felt right, that tasted right. And so you go on to the next one. You keep studying, you apply more principles. You go through a lot of hard work. And in front of your own eyes, the healing begins to take place. You see, among other things, that you're no longer compulsive. You're compulsive now, can't you? There's no way you can stop thinking harmful thoughts, is there? You can't stop yourself. They take you over. Look at those horrible, hard feelings that go through you, hateful feelings. You can't help it. Look, you take this combination of healing, and listen, it begins to take away the compulsion, the habit, and it replaces it with something utterly new, and you know it's you because you know absolutely that it's not a part of the past. It's not even a part of the future either. What it is a part of right now, because look, you feel right now. You feel good. You know what this is called? It's called true spirituality, which is exactly the same thing as true happiness. You want to find real happiness? Now you know how. Now go to work and you'll find healing.